I thought you were going to say you took a 3.5 hour dump. What's up, everybody? I'm Jared. He's Jay. And today on the hashtag Blackout Podcast, we tackle a very sensitive subject. Genital herpes and gonorrhea.
Oh, man.
Just kidding. We talk about summer vacations. We give some shout outs, talk a little pop culture and geek quick hits, and finish off with some would you rathers. Hold on to your butts. This one's going to be fun. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 14 of the hashtag Blackout Podcast. I'm Jared.
I'm Jay.
And yeah, man, we are back in this BR. Yeah, so welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys for listening up to the last couple of episodes. Got some great responses. And yeah, man, very happy to be back. How's it going, Jay?
It's going great. It's going very great. How about you? Another day, another dollar.
Yeah, another day, another dollar. Yeah, everything's going well. This has been a pretty good week, I have to say. So haven't melted into a puddle of chocolate yet.
No.
Even though it's dead middle of summer. So yeah, man, it's going great. Going great.
Wonderful.
Well, yeah, so like I was saying, yeah, thank everybody for listening to Jay's family business when he went down to Louisiana.
Yes, I did not think it was going to be as... getting that many hits as it did.
Yeah, I think didn't I say we got like seven hearts on SoundCloud?
Something like that.
I think so, yeah, man. So that's good. Everybody like your parents. So big shout out to Aunt Nanny and Uncle Blue.
Yeah, shout out to my parents. Damn.
And then the episode, directly after that, episode 12 that we had, we're talking about all the craziness going on in society. So got a lot of plays, got a lot of hits there as well. So thanks everybody for that. Much love to y'all out there. And yeah, man, normally we would start out by giving some shout outs and welcoming some people to the hashtag Blackout crew. But we're actually going to sort of leave our shout outs for later on as a part of the episode, just because, there's some...
so many.
So many. Yeah, so many. Too many, which is a great thing. It's a great problem to have. And so, right now, we're going to go ahead and go into our quick hits, the blurred or what is it? What do you call it? Like the blurred and pop culture quick hits of the week. So, Jay, do you want to start us out?
I'll start us out. So, this past Thursday was opening day for the biggest fan event of the year, San Diego Comic-Con. And okay. I definitely got to make it there one year because it seems like it's the place to be. And there have been TV show and movie trailers and teasers galore, like Luke Cage, which is one I'm looking forward to. One of my favorite shows. Also, The Walking Dead premiered a teaser, so I know fans are looking forward to that as well. Iron Fist had a trailer. That looked pretty good. There was also a trailer for this show called American Gods, which seemed pretty good. It seems like the story is pretty good. I don't know anything about it, but looking forward to seeing it. Looked great. Teasers for Daredevil Season 3, The Defenders, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Ghost Rider, which should be interesting.
Yeah, that should be good.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming out today as well tonight. I'm sure there'll be panel after panel, trailer after trailer. So we'll see. We'll see what's coming in the next couple of days.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited as well. Saw that Luke Cage trailer. We probably were watching it about simultaneously because I saw when you posted a video on it.
Yeah.
And I had literally just finished watching it, and man, that was so hype. It was like he was straight up in the hood.
Yeah, and they did a wonderful thing by putting Old Dirty Bastards Shimmy Shimmy Ya song on there.
Yeah, that Wu-Tang Clan.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was good. So I was a big fan of that. I heard Daredevil is greenlit for season 3.
Yes.
So that is good.
Yes.
Man, just too much great stuff coming out. I can't wait to see the Defenders and how they
definitely.
Yeah, so that's good. Well, I'm gonna jump in with a quick hit from the news side of things.
Oh boy!
And yeah, so Apprentice star Omarosa Manigault was she has a new position. Donald Trump has tabbed her as his director of African American outreach. Who's she reaching?
That's hilarious.
I mean, according to the polls, if you will, if you really trust them, Donald Trump has, 1% or less of the African American, support. Like, that's how many people said they're going to vote for him. So what is that? She has to try to pull in the other 99%?
Nope. And I'm sure over half of that, those people don't even know who she is.
Yeah, right. Wait, isn't she a part of the 99% though? Or is that a whole nother subject?
Yeah, well, yeah. She's a part of that 99%, but
yeah.
Hey, if I didn't watch The Apprentice, I would not know who she is.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, I don't know why black people would follow her, follow her lead, if you will, because I mean, I don't really know what she's doing in the community, but I don't think that she's really out there in them streets. You know what I'm saying?
She don't
have trying to make a difference.
She don't have any clout in these streets.
Exactly. And you know how we do it. As soon as like a black person sees somebody and like in our culture or whatever, and we think that they're a fraud, like we'll call them out immediately.
No hesitation.
So she ain't catching nobody like that. Let's see here. So do you think that she's the greatest reality TV villain of all time?
TV villain. Interesting.
Reality TV villain. I mean, I know there's been a lot.
There's been a lot, but I'd say she's probably one of the first big ones because, of course, reality TV has been around since way back in the day, like The Real World. And there have been villains. Yeah, Puck. I remember Puck. So I think as far as like a big primetime show, I think she's probably going down as one of the most hated. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think, one villain possibly would be the knife that stabbed Joey Greco on Cheaters.
See, I don't even. Oh, dang. I remember that. I remember that.
You can't get on my boat.
Dang.
Why you cheating on this boat?
Wow. I do remember that.
It's just the knife. It's not the person that stabbed you. Just the knife.
Heck. That was bad. I'm having flashbacks in my head of that particular scene.
Man, Cheaters was such a funny show, man. I remember just walking around, a couple friends of mine, we'd see each other, and like, this doesn't have anything to do with, our relationship lives at that time, but we'd look at each other and be like, Cheaters! You know what I'm saying? Like, from the title. But in true hero fashion, Joey Greco actually, sit there, stab, bleeding, it's like, I'm bleeding to death, but you know what? Why are you cheating on your girlfriend? You know what I'm saying? I thought it was so funny. So. Anyway, so Omarosa. Okay, last question I have about Omarosa. After the election, is she hired or is she fired?
Well, you know what? It depends on if he wins.
Yeah.
If he wins, I'm sure he's going to keep her on. If he loses, I'm still sure he's going to keep her on.
Keep her around, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna keep her around. They've been he needs that token black woman in his life, Yeah. Just the perfect amount of blackness to his daily agenda, Yeah,
yes indeed. Well, yeah, man, I pretty much think the same thing. Obviously if he doesn't win the election, she won't be his African American outreach coordinator, but he'll probably keep her around and stick her somewhere else. Maybe she'll be the landlord of a high rise out in the hood or something like that. Maybe that'll be her African American connection in to Donald Trump.
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, you got something else?
All right. Last but definitely not least, we talked about this on the last show last week. Designer released his full-length Timmy Turner song, and surprisingly, folks, it's just as bad as the XXL version. And leave it to the interwebs to go in on him. Man. And now what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to read a few comments from YouTube.
Okay.
That were posted. So I guess you could consider this little shout outs too, but they probably don't listen to the show. So Gregory Villagomez says, when is the English version being released? Ultimate Clutch says, anyone else use this song to summon their demon? Mo says, Timmy Turner, he be wishing you didn't murmur.
Yes.
Evan Hickman also said, I'm not surprised that there is no closed captioning for this video. Let's see. Tish Joanna, I hope I didn't butcher her name, but Timmy Turner should have wished for a translation. Brandon Johnson says, I can't go to sleep now. Eddie Jackson says, Tina Turner, she get beat with the burner.
Oh, man, that's wrong.
Let's see. I got a few more. Since when 53 says, had to pull my Bible out after listening to this scary ass song.
Oh, Lord.
Michael Jordan says, this nigga speaks in hieroglyphics.
Wow. MJ,
and finally, Timmy Turner himself responded, when the fuck did I wish for a burner and to kill everybody while they walking? And of course, there were over 17,000 comments on this song, well over 2 million hits, 2 million views for the song just within like 2 or 3 days. So he's doing pretty good.
That's so funny. And that's really what it's all about, is to get views, is get hits, get likes, get downloads, whatever.
Yeah.
People will buy it, if they don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Well, what is this? I didn't even understand the video you posted. Like his word.
Yeah, so if anybody's seen
Pokeball.
If anybody's seen our Instagram and Twitter, I posted a video that basically talks about, a little bit talks about what is on our episode 12, where we talk about Timmy Turner's racially stereotyped Pokeballs. Great job on the title there, Jay. And basically, GQ did a YouTube video or a short video with Designer playing Pokemon Go, and it shows like virtual Pokemon and Pokeballs all over the screen, and Designer jumping around. He's like, hey, I'm about to get jumped like that. The only thing I understood what he said. Only thing I understood was like near the end of the video, a lady's walking by and looks at him and says, "Hey, you look like Designer." And then he looks at the camera and then turns around and like salutes her and says, hey, I got broads in Atlanta. I was like, I know what he said there. Because I finally, after Panda's been out for so many months, I finally understand what the words are to that song.
He sounds like he's a caveman.
Yeah. Like, but what's so funny? When this, when you sent me a message about it and I finally looked it up yesterday at work, I was dying laughing and people looking at me like I was crazy. But then the reason I was really dying laughing was because, what did you say about where he was speaking?
Oh, you speaking in wingdings?
Yeah, he's speaking in wingdings. He said he was speaking in cursive. And I was dying and people were looking at me like, Jared, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? I was like, man, y'all don't understand. So, that's so funny. Yeah. The life of Designer, man. Just to be a fly on the wall. All the flies on the wall at his house are probably like mad crazy. You know what I'm saying? Just because they don't know what the heck is going on. They're trying to figure out what language.
It's like, he's about to hit me? Is he about to hit me? Is he talking about me?
No. He's just making that brrrah sound.
Oh, my God.
Man.
That's silly.
That's great. Yeah, but the full length version of it, I mean, if you guys listen to it out there, it is, it's insane because it pretty much sounds like he's saying the same thing for like 3 or 4 verses. You know what I'm saying? It sounds exactly the same. So if it's different, if you guys know what Designer says, number 1, tap your love box on SoundCloud. Number 2, let us know. Leave us a comment. You know what I'm saying?
Because we don't know.
We know the lyrics of Timmy Turner because we found it on Rap Genius, but really though, I don't really know if that's what he's actually saying. That's a good one. Jay. All right, let's see here. Last thing I got is So the Triple X movie, The Return of Xander Cage.
Yes.
Trailer just dropped this week, the week of July, 21st. And, man. And it was pretty great. I have to say it was interesting though, watching the beginning of it, as Vin Diesel, he's returning to the movie, the third Triple X. He's, returning to the movie. He starts out, he's like climbing this humongous, this really tall, like communications tower, looks like in another country. and it shows him skiing down the tower. It's not wintertime, mind you. It's like the rainforest or something like that. Skiing down the side of the tower, somehow, getting to the bottom, and then you see him doing like a cross ski twist in the air, doing all these tricks. And he comes back in, and Samuel L. Jackson's in it. So, you're gonna have some views there. I mean, I'm gonna watch it just for Samuel L. Jackson. But yeah, man, I wasn't too excited about the second XXX. This one, I wasn't really like clamoring for it.
Right.
But since Vin Diesel's back, since Samuel L. Jackson's back, I'm down, man. I'm down. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see it too. I really don't have a problem with them bringing it back. I like the majority of Vin's movies, like both XXXs. I like both XXXs, the first one with him and then the second one with Ice Cube.
I'm going to go back and watch it, man.
Yeah, I mean, were they like cultural, mind-blowing, cinematic changing features, No, they weren't, so I don't mind seeing it again. It's just a guy's film, just like Expendables, just mindless, nonstop action.
Yeah, that's what it's all about sometimes. And it's coming out in January, January 2017. So,
dang.
That's
so he's going to be,
close.
he's going to be busy next year because he has that. Another Fast 8, which is halfway done. Yeah. And then, Guardians of the Galaxy, but of course he doesn't really, he just says, I am Groot.
Yeah, well, I know they wrapped up shooting on Guardians of the Galaxy with like a couple weeks ago, so.
Yeah, so everything's coming out next year.
But what's funny, wrapping up shooting for him is like, like about a week in the sound booth.
True, very true. Yeah.
Recording. So, yeah, he's done with that. And I was going to say, okay, so we have about a couple of degrees of separation. If you ever heard of the game, the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, where you try to basically put together, actors, 2 different random actors and see how they're connected, either to Kevin Bacon or to each other. We have a couple of degrees of separation to Vin Diesel through one of my homeboys. Shout out to I can't even freaking say it. At Havunta, my boy Hunter, that I work with, he is really, really tight friends with the guy who is Vin Diesel's stunt double in all his movies. So, anytime you see Vin Diesel like flying through the air, obviously doing these like ski tricks, off of the tall tower, where he's like flying. Didn't he fly in one of the Fast and Furious? Like he flew across from one.
He flew across from one bridge over to the next bridge and caught somebody in the air, caught his girlfriend in the air.
Yes, he did that. And like that bridge was also like hundreds of feet off the ground, right?
Yeah. Yes.
This guy was, this stunt double was that guy. It wasn't really Vin Diesel. It was this stunt double. His name is Luke McNeil. You can find him on Instagram as Luke85 McNeil. Dude is from Australia, and he's really like a motorcycle rider from Australia. But obviously he has a look of Vin Diesel. Dude's freaking ripped. He has to shave his head anytime he does one of the Vin Diesel movies. And yeah, man, dude is good. He actually got the fake, the fake tat on the back of his neck, that XXX tat.
Yeah.
For Vin Diesel. So yeah, man, he's obviously really great at what he does. So big shout out to Luke85 McNeil. Big shout out to my boy Hunter. So yeah, man, I'm excited to see the movie. I'll go see the movie just to support that dude. So so that's cool. Well, you have any more? That was it?
That was it.
All right.
That was it.
All right, the quick hits, the blurred and geek topics for the week are done. If you guys have anything you want us to talk about, like the new Power Rangers movie, like Suicide Squad that's coming up, like the latest trailer, which was pretty dang dope, or just about Melania Trump and how she likes to plagiarize things. And talk about her beautiful daughter Sasha and Malia. Let us know in the comments. Send us a message. Tap your love box. All right. Well, so this week, we wanted to talk about something fun. We referenced it a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about Jay coming back from his vacation, his long trek across America.
Too long.
With his family.
Too freaking long.
Yeah, man. And man, we want to talk a little bit of vacation time because we're dead in the middle of summer. School hadn't started yet. It started for a while for a few kids out there. So, man, we just want to talk about some of our fun vacations that we had together or, obviously as different families as kids, and then give some parenting do's and don'ts and a couple other things in there. So Jay, why don't you talk about some fun vacations you had?
Man, well, thing is, let's see. Fun vacation. So my family didn't really travel much. I think the furthest we went was like Florida a few times.
Yeah, okay.
But, it wasn't really memorable. But, we would mostly visit your family in Houston or my dad's family, which everybody seemed to move straight to Houston.
That's right.
But I think the most fun I had was when my parents let me go with you and your fam to Cali. And then, of course, we went to Vegas and whatnot. Yes. But, we were young. I don't know how old we were. We were, maybe 10, 11 probably.
Let's see.
9, 10, 11, somewhere around there.
Were you born again?
I was born in 80.
80. So that would have been, 1992 was one time we went. I think, because I was born in 78. So, I think you were about 10. I was about 12-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So, it was a great, because, you think about traveling now versus then. There were no booster seats or car seats or anything like that. Mm-hmm. They just strapped us in the back. There was no portable TVs, no laptops, no electronics. So all you had was your imagination, So that was it. That was like the best time. We didn't complain. Not like kids today. They complain they don't have anything to see, nothing to do. They're bored. It's like, look out the window, look at the clouds. Figure out some little cloud, imaginary cloud animals or something like that. Use your imagination.
That's so funny. Now, I do have a question. I know we went to California a couple of times with cousins that wouldn't have normally come with us, like Anson. Was Anson on that trip? Or no?
Yeah. Yes, she was.
Okay. So, what's so funny? Okay, so we talked about in past episodes where my family had this huge Chevrolet conversion van, and it was like, there was 4 captain's chairs, so 4 single seats, the front couple rows. Back row was like a bench seat that laid down into a bed. Mm-hmm. We had a TV, we had a couple coolers in there. It was like a little, like a mini motorhome, I guess you would say.
Right, yeah.
Like a regular motorhome and not a motorhome. It was about, honestly, I have to say I was so blessed to have that van, and we rode in that van everywhere. My parents, and we didn't, like I said before, we never flew. I didn't fly my first time until I was 18, just after high school. So so we drove everywhere, coast to coast, north to south, everywhere but the Pacific Northwest, pretty much, which I guess I'm trying to experience now where I live. But in that van, could fit, normally it could fit, I guess it's supposed to fit only 7. We got 10 people up in there at one point in time, I know.
Dang.
So we had planned on going to California, and we were just going to visit, going to Disney, going to visit my dad's aunt and uncle out there. We're going to drive to Vegas as well. Mm-hmm. And, from LA. And, what happened was like a week, maybe a couple weeks before we went out there, the van got rear-ended. And I had to have my brother and sister corroborate, or my parents corroborate this with me, but we got rear-ended when we were in Galveston, by these 2 dudes. I remember it like it was yesterday, man. We were just going down there, and it was, we were just going down there for the summer to play at the beach, for a few hours that day, because we lived like 30 minutes away. And these dudes, rear-ended us at a stop sign. And then they pulled around and they like told my dad, they're like, "Hey, sorry about that. We're just going to pull up here and, we'll exchange insurance, all that stuff." So my dad's like, "All right." So, pulled away from the stop sign. Those dudes took off. Never saw them again.
That's crazy.
Never saw them again. Got out, and thankfully everybody was okay. Nobody was injured. Got out and looked at the back of the van. The whole rear end was caved in.
Dang. That van's been through some wars, man.
Oh, it has, because there have been accidents with that van, involved. That van had been across country. I mean, I don't know how many 100,000 miles were on there, but I know there had to be, at least 400,000 miles.
Dang.
By the time that van, we finally sold that. But that being said, the van was rear-ended, so my parents were like, well, we're not canceling our trip to California. We're still bringing, Jay, which I called you by your middle name, which is my middle name, LaRon. We're still bringing LaRon. We're still bringing Anson, which is one of our girl cousins, just so my sister would have somebody to play with. So my parents ended up getting a Lincoln Town Car.
Ooh.
And that's what we rode in.
Yeah.
That's what we rode all the way to California. And okay, so you can imagine this. My parents, 2 grown-ups in the front seat. That was a time when the cars didn't really have a center console in the front.
Right.
They either had like an armrest that laid down, or just a seat that went across.
Yeah, just a bench seat. Yep.
Exactly. So I know for the majority of that ride, my brother Jordan, which I call him Lindsay, which you might know from the show as Lindsay, he sat on that middle console, like in the front, like not in the middle console, but he was actually in a car seat. It was just nothing close to the standards of car seats today.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like a death trap car seat. So thank God that nobody got injured there. And then me, Jay, Sister Gappy, Cousin Anson, all sitting in the back seat, right?
Squished.
4 kids squished from Houston to California.
That was awesome,
LA.
man. That wasn't that the best?
That was the best time ever, man. Because I know that my parents were, pretty resourceful. I think after a few trips, they figured it out. Okay, we have to have something for these kids to do, and we have to stop, pretty often. So I know that my mom had like a mini Connect 4 that we played, played some Uno and other card games. I mean, we played bingo out the yin yang.
Yeah.
You remember what we bingoed, though? You remember what we bingoed?
I can't remember.
You remember what our favorite car was, but it was also the worst car?
I have to. This is going to be part of my favorite Vacays story.
Yeah, okay, keep going.
Okay,
yeah.
So people out there, I was going to talk about the Ninja Turtle arcade victory in Vegas. But we did that some episodes ago.
Yes, sir.
8-Bit Heaven, check it out. But that wasn't totally a story that ended up in fun. More confusion than fun. So back in the day, on the same LA Vegas trip, you and I had this thing about Chevy El Caminos.
Yes.
And for those that don't know, the El Camino was this car truck hybrid. The front end was like a car. The back was the tail end of a truck, like the bed. Anyways, every time we'd see one, we'd yell out, "Look at that El Camino!" And we die laughing for some odd adolescent reason, which today I still have no clue. Because, I've grown quite a bit. I've grown quite fond of El Caminos.
So, have you now?
Yeah, I was actually going to buy one a couple years ago. But anyway.
What?
Yeah.
Man,
But there was this one time on the highway, I remember, we were in the back seat. I think it was just you and I, from what I remember. We were in your uncle's car, maybe?
Yeah, it was, okay, so it's my dad's Uncle Napoleon, please rest in peace. And he was great dude. Yeah. He was a great dude. And he had one of those Cadillacs, like one of those old people Cadillacs. Yeah. Not the big body, but the smaller one.
Yeah. So we were rolling down the highway, right? Yeah. And I spot this El Camino and turn to you. Jared, look at that El Camino. And as I'm yelling this, you're like midway into downing some Sprite, right? Yes. Then all of a sudden it comes right back rushing up out your mouth with some chunks of other food we ate. And it just went everywhere, man. But the crazy thing is you were still laughing and throwing up at the same time. Like,
I remember that El Camino. If I'm not correct, I think that was like a rust red colored El Camino. Yes. And it was like dusty looking.
Yes.
And we're in the middle of the desert, so like the way, but it was, and I remember that was still like the early day, like maybe like morning time, because we left LA to go on the way to Vegas. And man, I was like, I remember when you said that, I remember everything. I looked up and I was in the middle of my Sprite. You're right. And we had just had breakfast. So it was like eggs and bacon and toast and Sprite and jelly. Strawberry jelly, by the way. All mixed up. God. And like it came out all over me, all over Uncle Napoleon's car. And man, oh dang, I felt so sad. And you were just laughing at me. I was laughing at the El Camino. I could not stop. And then I'm pretty sure it was you. You were like, excuse me, I think Jared just had an accident.
Oh man.
And he was like, "Oh, what happened?" He turned around, and he's an older guy. He turned around. He's like, "Oh man, well, we just gonna have to stop." Yeah, so we stopped, and we stopped. My dad was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "I couldn't help it. I was laughing at the El Camino." Oh man! We said it took, I don't know, maybe like 20, 30 minutes to clean it up because we weren't really close to like a rest stop or anything like that.
God, yeah.
We're in the middle of nowhere, so we had to wait. Like we had to I had to ride for another 20 or 30 minutes with throw up all over my body. You're sitting there dying laughing at me. They ain't have no tissues up in that car. All they had was like a bag to try to like put everything in the trash.
Dang.
It was so funny, man. And then that
was great.
We went the rest of the way to Vegas. I feel so sad because I threw up in his car and it probably smelled like breakfast and throw up. You know what I'm saying?
With a hint of lemon lime.
Right, the whole rest of the way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man,
yeah, man. So
that was great.
So that was a good time. Yeah, that was so funny. And what was also funny on that trip was we at one point in time we decided. All of us cousins, we just decided to count how many El Caminos we saw, right? Mm-hmm. And this was going and coming. And I don't know where we started laughing at El Camino, why we did, but I mean, that went on for a couple of years. I know that we'd always talk about that. And I think at last count, if I remember, I know it's been years, but I do remember we got up in the 900 something of El Camino.
Jeez.
It's like 947 for some reason rings a bell. But man, yeah, I remember that, and it was always like when we used to play car bingo back in the day, like it was always like you had to be the first one to see the El Camino,
right?
And like the ugliest, the dankest El Camino was the best El Camino.
Yep, and that one won that day. Man,
that one won the day. That one won the trip, man. El Camino came around the corner for the win. Man, that's so funny. Yeah. Golly, that was definitely one of the top vacations ever. And when we say we were squished in there for a long time, I mean, basically going from the eastern corner to El Paso in Texas along I-10, they say it's longer than driving from the eastern border of Texas, western Louisiana, all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. That stretch, like 900 miles almost, or maybe more than that, just more than that from tip to tip, east to east, tip to tip, east to west on Texas, is longer than going, from Houston to the dang Atlantic Ocean. And
I know I'm not doing that trip.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you did where you live now in DFW, you'd probably cut off like 2 or 3 hours. So
that's just a lonely trip, man.
Yes, it is. It really is. And big shout out to my parents for always driving everywhere. Yeah. Taking turns through the night, through the day. I mean, what's so crazy? Like we took a trip a few years back when my kids were a little younger from DFW area to Disney World. Mm-hmm. And we left at, I don't know, that's like 3 or 4 in the morning maybe. And the kids were asleep. It was just one of those things where like, all right, well, if we want to get there, get to our first stop, which was Pensacola. Mm-hmm. If we want to get there at any point in time, maybe early, then we definitely want to leave, overnight. My parents, like, they would go to bed at like 6 o'clock p.m., wake up at, like 11, right? Pack the car up, and we'd be out the door by 1 o'clock. Dang. Like we'd sleep in the van or, whatever. But like we said earlier, the van was set up for long trips. Yeah. So,
yeah, they don't even make those kind of vans anymore, do they?
They sort of changed the way they make vans like that. But yeah, the van that we had, Explorer, that conversion, hey, thanks Explorer. You guys gave us years and years of enjoyment. And that was my van. That was my first car, really, in high school.
Yeah.
My dad gave it to me, and my people used to call it like the Blue Submarine, the Shaggin' Wagon, all kinds of stuff. So that was fun. Yeah, I'm trying to think about great vacations. So I already said, we went to Disney World with our kids. My wife and I a couple years ago, and my son was scaring us because he normally likes to get car sick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, being in the car for too long, I don't know, he gets too hot. Maybe it's like he gets sick just watching all the trees go by. I don't know.
Yeah.
But dude was like, he'd be tossing his cookies and oatmeal everywhere. So we were scared that was going to happen multiple times.
Yeah.
And on that trip, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the amount of movies that we had, the huge amount of toys and activities that we had going on. But he didn't get car sick. He was cool. There was a lot of iPad playing. There was a lot of car bingo. There's a lot of, movies. There's a lot of little, what do you call those? Like, coloring books and stuff like that.
Yeah, activity
for kids
pads.
to play.
Yeah.
And so my son was, Jackson? He was 5. And so my daughter Savannah would have been 3 at the time. And yeah, man, it was a great trip. We went across through Louisiana, the northern part of Louisiana, went through Mississippi, which there's a little story tagged on at the end there. Finally got to Pensacola early enough where it was still a little dusk. So we got there, even though we stopped a lot, got there in time. And then, the next day we went on down to Orlando. And let me just say, the drive from Pensacola to Orlando, when you look at a map, you're like, all right, it's in the same state. It's not really that far away.
Yeah.
Man, it feels like it's so far.
Yeah. How many? What's the hours? How many?
I swear, Google Maps said like 7 hours. So I was like, 7 hours? And you know what? I'm pretty sure it took us about 9.
Dang.
With
all the stops.
Man, we stopped for gas. We stopped to pee. We stopped to eat. We saw Sonic. We stopped at Sonic for a Sonic drink, like a slushie. Man, we stopped so many times. And then eventually we did get to Disney World before the end of the day. It was still like about 3 o'clock maybe. And then we actually had park tickets for that day, which Disney World in Florida is a whole different beast than Disney World in California.
Yeah, it's massive.
I haven't been to Asia. I haven't been to one in Europe yet. But the one in Florida is, it really is its own city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In every sense of the word. They have their own transit system, have their own, train, monorail, light rail system. They even have like a system of boats, that takes you from a resort if you're staying on the water,
right.
Directly to the Magic Kingdom. And they do everything 100% to a T. So shout out to Disney. Their details, their focus is always in the details on everything they do. You can see it in their movies.
Right,
and,
right.
It translates to the parks. I haven't been to California, I guess, since we went, but way back then. So now, since I'm a little closer, we'll make a trip down there, a couple trips for sure.
Right.
But the one in California is much smaller compared to Florida. So if you have anybody out there ever gets a chance to go to Disney in Florida, definitely do it.
Yes.
I recommend staying at one of the resorts on the property. You could do a cheap one, which is what we did, and we had just as great a time as if we would have done one of the more expensive ones. But yeah, man.
That's cool. Yeah, I think we wanted to try to do that, but like with my family, my immediate family, and then my in-laws, my brother-in-law, his family, maybe one summer, but man, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if I want to make that drive, dude.
Yeah.
At least I would want my kids to be a little older because all they do is complain in the back seat. This one's touching me. This one's looking at me. I gotta every 5 minutes. I gotta pee. I gotta do this. Where's my crayons? Where's my So I don't know if I can handle it.
And it's one of those things because that's exactly what we thought was going to happen with ours. But we got. I remember going Black Friday shopping the Christmas before that. November before that, and I ended up picking up a dual screen DVD player.
Yeah.
Right. And because we didn't have the money to put that in our van at the time. So we got that, and we just said, hey, we're gonna pick 20 movies. Everybody gets to, each of you guys get to pick 10.
Yeah.
And we're going to alternate movies. That's the way it's going to be. So, we'll play movies, while we're riding if you guys want to watch them. But we're alternating, if it's his turn, then you can't get a movie. If it's her turn, you can't get a movie.
Yeah.
You just got to wait. And then, we had, oh my gosh, we had so much stuff. So they did complain a little bit, but for the most part, they were good. But yeah. I'll tell you what, man,
those are lifesavers too, man.
Oh yeah,
because we have a couple of them as well, but of course we're saying like alternate the movies, but when one gets their movie that they want, then the other one starts complaining and pouting and just acting all crazy.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts. And then I'll say just real quick, I would say along with the movie situation and other things that would entertain them. This doesn't pertain really to that mostly, but if you stay on the, if you do that, if you guys end up driving, stay on main highways because it just took us longer because we went on longer highways.
Yeah.
I know when it felt like we were still just trudging along, we were in the middle of nowhere. That's when the kids started complaining.
Yeah.
That's when me and my wife started looking at each other like, man, what the heck are we doing? You know what I'm saying? But if we would have stayed on the main highways instead of doing everything Google told us to do, then we would have, it probably would have been a little bit quicker trip and, less aggravation.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Wow. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, it's going to be a while before I do that long of a trip again, but
yeah. Anywhere else that you guys went that
man,
was
there's like I said, we pretty much just Houston back home. That was like a 4-hour trip. My dad, he, I guess as people heard in the my episode when I talked to my family, my dad's a Vietnam vet, so he suffers from PTSD. So he usually likes to stay in his element close to home, getting around like big crowds and stuff like that. It kind of freaks him out a little bit, but I guess that's what a lot of vets go through.
Yeah,
when they get back home from war. So
yeah, I mean, I had to say, man, I can totally understand that, and I think it seems like to me it got a little worse than it was when we were kids because I feel like you guys visited a lot.
Yeah,
when we were kids. But I don't know. I mean, I had to say, anytime we went from Houston to Louisiana, it was great because we would see you and your brother, and then our other two cousins, Jemmy and Pookie. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my grandparent and, our grandparents that were there, and we'd always stay, my sister, brother, and I would always stay with you and your family at your house, and your mom and dad were about the best people ever, letting us come over because they're like, oh yeah, come on in. Feel at home, take off your shoes, eat whatever you want as long as you cleaned it up. You know what I'm saying? Play wherever, it doesn't matter. And even your parents let us hang out in their room from morning till night playing video games and watching shows or whatever, on some of those times. So yeah, man, it was always the best going to your house. And then when we went to Mama and Papa's house.
Oh man.
They had rows and rows of vegetables. That they grew.
A field.
Man,
a field is acres upon acres. It was like from the front end of that field all the way to the back. That was like well over a quarter mile.
Yeah.
Golly, that was well over a quarter mile, man.
Yeah, man. It was amazing. And then the width of their property was probably like 2 football fields long, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All the way back as well. And they had on one side of the property, all the way back, from front yard to back of the property, they had pecan trees, which seemed like they were hundreds of years old. They were huge.
Yeah.
And so, Papa would always take pecans to sell. So we'd see him, when we went to visit, we'd always see him with bags of pecans or bags of sweet potatoes or,
everything.
Just regular potatoes, everything going to sell them. And, that was part of the way they made their living. And, until he was an old man doing that. So that was amazing. Anytime we went there to visit, I'd always be happy because we came home with bags of pecans, vegetables out the yin yang, and they also had a pig pen. If you guys ever remember, Pigpen from Charlie Brown, little kid who walks around with the dust cloud around him.
Yeah.
Like, that was the Pigpen.
The Pigpen. And we weren't even allowed to go inside.
No, we weren't.
You know, of course, our cousins, our brothers, that's where the basketball hoop was. Mm-hmm. So they play basketball in there, and they like, don't get near that pig's gonna chase you, that hog's gonna chase you.
Yeah.
You know, so they were always trying to scare us because they didn't want the little kids to hang out with the big kids.
Oh, they sure didn't. They sure did. They're trying to troll us.
But there's one time, man, mm-hmm. I will never ever forget this. It was me and you, mm-hmm. and I think it was around 4th of July sometime. Mm-hmm. We had a bunch of firecrackers and we put them in a bottle, right?
Yes.
And we lit it, thinking it was going to explode, but it didn't explode.
And we were standing right next to it.
Yeah, I mean, we were a little farther away, but it went off. The firecrackers went off, and we went up and looked at the bottle. It didn't explode, but it had this cool cloud of smoke just stuck inside the bottle. Mm-hmm. We brought it inside, and we explained to everybody, look what we did. We blew up firecrackers inside this bottle. And, of course, everybody just got mad. Everybody got mad. You know, you could have hurt yourself. You know, that stuff could have flew in your eyes. You could have hurt yourself. Yeah. So your dad, of course, took off his belt.
Man.
Started laying down butt whippings to you. I forgot if Gappy was in there with you as well. But then, of course, my mom said he was with him too. You give him some too.
Really? I don't remember that my dad gave you a whipping too.
He gave me a whipping too.
Man, my dad was strong too.
Yeah. It's like I used to go visit y'all, and I don't know if it was my fault, but it's like y'all guys had like scheduled butt whippings. It's like, because I think, didn't your dad like work the night shift or late shift at one point in time?
My dad, where he worked at a petrochemical company. Yeah. And they had rotating shifts. So
I remember he would be resting during the day. Mm-hmm. And then we'd probably just be making so much noise in the living room that he's like, Jared, come here.
Man. Let me just tell you, man, when you hear those words, you know,
it's trouble.
And then you hear like the little belt buckle like start to jingle, man, it's over. It's over. I was a good kid though, but you know, I don't know. I know what happened was, I know my dad had like told us, all right, I'm going to go in here and take a nap. You know, I'm going to go rest. You know, I need you guys to be quiet. Or, you know, play out in the backyard or something like that. Uh-huh. You know, don't make a ton of noise. And I would always be antagonizing my sister, Gappy. Yeah. I love her to death, but, you know, as a kid, I always mess with her, which is probably why my son does that to our daughter now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man. So my dad knew that happened. And it was, I think, you know, for me, it was a little bit of the fact that you were in town because I was trying to show out. You know what I'm saying? And he'd always be like, why are you trying to show out? You know, and I was like, but, you know, I'm just having fun. But really, you know, I was just trying to be silly. And I had like when you came to visit, when I went to visit you, like my hype level went up 20 times. You know what I'm saying? Like it went past 100. Right. Like, yeah. So everything I did, like I just went a little bananas. So yeah, man, that's how I got my butt whipped. And I hated it at the time. And now that I have kids, I know what my parents did. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, man, those were like the best vacations. Going to visit you guys for sure. One time we drove from from Houston as a kid up to where is it? Buffalo, New York, to visit my dad's side of the family up there. Before we drove back to Chicago, mind you, or maybe we went to Chicago first for a church convention, and then shout out to Cachusa, and then across to Buffalo, New York. After that, I can't remember, but I know that we're in Buffalo, New York. I know that you know, some family members there, and that was the first time I saw porn magazines. Uh-oh. I do remember that. I was in the basement at a family member's house, and maybe one of their sons had it. You know, just there, and I was like, oh, it's just a magazine, you know. I didn't really know what it was. I just opened it up, and I was like, whoa! Yeah, buddy. I was like, yeah. So I was, I was like, what the heck? Okay, well, all right. I don't know if I'm supposed to be looking at this, but I'm looking for a couple of minutes, and then I heard some creaking and cracking, and then I ran away.
Yep, close it.
But then also on that vacation, we went to, and that opened up a whole new world for me, by the way.
I'm sure it did. Yeah, man, as it did for many boys out there.
Man, it was so different after that. Anyway. And then,
hair on your chest.
Right? It all just like popped up, you know what I'm saying? Right after that. I guess a lot of things popped up. Anyway, so we also went to Niagara Falls to visit, and we went to the Canada side. We went a couple of times while we were there. I mean, it was so pretty. Golly, it was so pretty. Niagara Falls, okay, only thing I remember from Niagara Falls or knew about Niagara Falls before that time was that was where Superman saved that kid from falling in on the movie. Or, Clark Kent back in the day. So I was like,
just like Harambe.
Man, just like Harambe. Don't fall in, kid. Don't fall in. So I remember standing at the spot from the movie where the kid was like holding on to the rail and he ended up falling in. And I was like, okay, don't go on the other side of the rail. Don't go to the other side of the rail. I don't know why I was thinking not to go on the other side of the rail. Like I was really going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I was like, but if I do, maybe Superman will catch me. But then in my mind, I was like, oh wait, Superman is just a character on a movie. So I didn't do that. And and thankfully my brother and sister, neither of them did that either. My brother was a baby then, I think, as well. So he wouldn't have done it. But I remember seeing it. We didn't get to go down and do the bottom boat ride at the bottom of the falls. But I remember driving along the road that goes on the Canadian side, after you cross over from Buffalo over to Niagara, to the falls. And in the middle of the Niagara River, on the way, there was an old rusty boat. The whole boat was rusted out, and it looked like it was caught on either an anchor or a chain. It was caught on the rocks in the river, and it was just like sitting there clanging, back and forth clanging. And I remember that and looking at that, and I was like, what the heck happened to those people on that boat? Like, did they fall out, get sucked down the falls? Did they die on the boat? And I mean, it looked like it was probably, maybe 20 or 30 yards out into the water, which is a fast moving river, what I'm saying?
Right.
That ends in, hundreds of foot drop fall over the Horseshoe Falls. So
crazy.
So I remember seeing that and I was like, dang, I hope they got out alive, but maybe they didn't. Who knows? But who knows how long it'd been there? I didn't really look into history because I was a little kid at that time. But yeah, Niagara Falls was one of the most amazing sights, for me. Obviously going to DC as a kid and seeing all those sights, New York multiple times as an adult, and other places around the country were great. Top 3 vacations ever for me was my wife and I got married in Jamaica. Had our honeymoon / wedding all in Jamaica on the beach. Man, let me just tell you, man, in Jamaica, it is so dang laid back and you can straight up buy weed anywhere on the beach.
Oh, awesome.
At our resort, they didn't, they didn't, obviously you couldn't buy it at the resort.
Yeah.
But they had people walking up and down the beach because the beaches were wide open. And there tons of people who walk by me who'd be like, hey man, you want to buy some weed? And I was like, what? Huh? No, what? It was crazy. And I didn't buy any, but I didn't buy any of that, Jamaican Mamba or whatever they call it. But, but it was nuts, man. How much you get solicited down there.
I'm sure. That's what I've heard.
And they were right next door to a nude resort. I think they call it RIU. A nude resort. So people walking up and down the beach just butt naked. And there were some bodies that you did not want to be around.
Yeah, I heard nude resorts, man, are pretty much for the older people, that older crowd. I don't think, I don't think the younger, fit fellas, body crowd would be
out
there.
There. When you hear nude resort, do not think Hawaiian Tropic. All right? Think, old folks home. Nude bodies.
Forearms.
Forearms.
I don't know why I thought of that. Man, I just thought of our grandmother and me walking in that room one time.
Oh, man. I've seen that before, too.
It's like, dang, she has 4 arms and 4 thumbs.
Oh, man.
It's like, why does she have thumbs sticking out the middle ones?
No way. Shout out to Alice. We love you, Mama. But, yeah, that was... I've seen that before too. Man. So I don't know. Okay, so yeah, we talked about some fun, silly vacation stuff. Let's see here. What are some good vacation do's and don'ts for parents? We have a lot. We don't have to run through all of them.
Man, what do's and don'ts, of course, bring snacks. And like we said earlier, toys, books, movies, games, activities for the kids to play. I mean, we try to refrain from that stuff as much as possible. We want our kids to use their imagination, but don't neglect the potty break.
That's right, man.
You know, you gotta stop sometime. You gotta stop. Everybody go at the same time.
Yeah, I say if it's a trip that's going to be longer than like 5 hours. Yeah. I say stop every 3 hours.
Yes.
If it's going to be like 5 hours or less, at least stop, 2.5 hours, 2 hours in. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets rough.
Yeah.
And, people start getting annoyed with each other. So, the stretch break, the potty break.
Everything. That's all good. Pillows and blankets. Yeah.
Yeah. Just make it all like when you stop for gas. Pillows and blankets. Yeah.
Pillows and blankets. Also have a plan. A plan and agenda. We didn't have a plan this past trip. Oh, yeah. But for one in San Antonio that we did last year, we had a plan and we stuck to that plan and we did everything we said we were going to do.
Oh, yeah.
And last for me, puke bags and a change of clothes.
Man, you're so right. And I mean, you would think that a change of clothes is like self-explanatory. Obviously, you're going on a trip, you would think you have it. But sometimes it's hard to reach the bottom of that suitcase when other stuff is on top of it. And there's a kid with throw up all over them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. You have any more to add on to that?
Man, let's see here. I was thinking along the same lines as like snacks and potty breaks and whatnot. Every now and then stop for a treat. Maybe it's on your gas break, but like a Dairy Queen, dip cone, or like a Sonic slushie, like I said earlier.
Right.
I mean, all that stuff will like help kids not go as crazy. But then again, you have to keep into account if you're getting them something with chocolate on it, if they're going to be crazy after that. Because your kids. You know if your kid's crazy or not.
Oh, of course.
Especially if they have chocolate. You know what I'm saying? So people out there, don't give your kids chocolate if you don't want them to be crazy. But, make sure you stop for a treat and maybe let them have some time to run around before you get back on the road.
Yep.
Now, there's a do and don't about the smartphone and tablet because, it's great to, let them play that to sort of break up some stuff, and let them, be engaged in that. But then again, we had the best times when we were playing bingo as kids, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And looking at stupid El Caminos and just other silly stuff and just using our imagination. So, definitely encouraging them to look out the window and count how many mountains they see or count how many, cars that are red they see.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or find the letters of the alphabet, from A to Z on signs or whatever. That's what we did on our Disney trip. And, man, it worked to a T.
Sweet.
Portable charger and a charging cable. Always good for those tablets and smartphones. Whatever the portable charger you use, definitely get that. I work at a company that has some, so I use them, now, and I love them. So, it's always good to have those. And then my son Jackson chimed in last night and said, don't let your dog jump out the window.
That would be bad. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Have you guys ever flown on a plane with the kids yet? Or no?
No, not yet. Not yet. Right. We thought about it this trip, but yeah.
Next trip, I guess.
Yeah.
So I have some on a plane. I know we've taken many trips going cross country to visit family, with the kids, one of us with the kids or both of us with the kids. And it's crazy. So, on the plane, just think about this rule. 1 time is okay. Twice is a little annoying. 3 or more times, people say, I'm pissed, get that kid out of here. So that's like, letting your kid kick the seat in front of you. Letting them like yell and scream.
That's my kids.
And whatever on the plane, letting them bicker, running up and down the aisles. Do not let the kids do laps up and down the aisle. You know how crazy your kids are.
Yep, that's my kids.
You don't want to be that person walking up and down the aisles after your kids, yelling at your kids, and everybody else on the plane who's either trying to read a book or do some work or go to sleep or just chill is just looking at you like, man, come on, man.
Oh, boy, yeah. My wife wants to go back to Thailand with the kids. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. That's a long, long flight.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's a long time, hours.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Do bring lollipops and bottles for the kids to suck on, candy, gum on takeoffs and landings. Cause that's when the ears pop. That's when the ears hurt. My daughter, a couple months ago when I went to Houston, we went down and my daughter was like, Daddy, my ears hurt. My ears hurt. They're clogged. They hurt. And I was like, drink some water. eat something, drink some water, chew some gum. And she did not want to. And I was like, they'll make your ears pop. And as I told her that, she was thinking that it was literally going to make her ears explode. And I was like, no. And eventually she got it and she felt better about it. But okay, so a couple other do's and don'ts. Don't ignore a diarrhea-filled diaper. Plain, enclosed place. All the AC is recycling upon itself. If your kid's diarrhea diaper starts to smell, it's going to smell up the whole plane. So go to the restroom, get that thing cleaned off, throw it away. Do feed your child. Feed them on the plane. Get them a snack. I'd say like, a snack to eat if it's a long flight, or lunch to eat if it's a long flight and you're not actually getting dinner if like you're in coach. Just grab, something from a restaurant at the airport.
Right.
And bring plenty of snacks. Don't let them kick the seat in front of you. Don't ignore your child. Don't let your kids throw food. And if they make a huge mess, you're going to have to clean it up. If you're at a restaurant, anywhere, don't let your kids throw that food. But if they make a mess and you don't clean it up, you better tip that waiter 20% or more. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been that waiter, at a restaurant, had to clean up after kids, or, I've had, some coworkers have to clean up after kids. And then you look at that bill and it's like 15%. You're like, what? Man, y'all better come back in here and clean up this floor because I ain't doing it. So, if you know your kid, if your kid going to throw stuff on the floor. So one time when my son Jackson was about, 9 months old maybe, we went to Olive Garden, right? There in DFW, right by Northeast Mall. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that poor waitress there we had. Because Jackson was like throwing stuff on the floor. There was noodles and salad and breadsticks. You know what I'm saying? Breadsticks flying everywhere. And that little girl, she just, that poor waitress, she looked at us like, man, I hate these people. But, after the fact, I ended up tipping the girl like 25%. Because awesome. I was like, I know that I'm not cleaning this up. I know you're probably going to have to, since it's Olive Garden and y'all ain't high class, so it would probably make the servers clean it up. And I want to let you know that I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I tipped 25% plus, and I was just doing that. So yeah, take care of your servers when you go to restaurants on vacation. And don't let your kids act like they ain't got no home training. That's what we used to say as a kid.
Happened every time in Walmart, man.
Man, every time. So, so we gave some do and don'ts. We obviously talked about some fun vacations we had. One thing, we did want to talk about, and we can give some shout outs in this section, was about favorite vacation / truck stop foods. I put out some ads on Twitter and just tweeted some people, some of our followers, and said, hey, what's some great, vacation foods that you love the most, truck stop foods, whatever. And we got a massive response. I'm still waiting for Ryan Reynolds, to go ahead and respond to us. So, hey, Ryan Reynolds, where you at, bruh? We love Deadpool. Anyway. So yeah, Jay, we just gonna go down these, and we can alternate. I guess we could just call out their name and how to find them online, on Twitter or whatever. So go ahead.
All right, Just in Time Podcast at JNT Podcast says, donuts. I love donuts. Donuts are great.
Man, all day in the Homer Simpson voice. That's what I was thinking. Let's see here. Okay, Juliet Miranda, the host of the Unwritable Rant podcast, very funny podcast. And you can find her at Morning Neurosis on Twitter. Let's see here. Chili cheese Fritos and nacho cheese. It's awful, but awesome. Anything with like sticky neon yellow cheese.
That is so good. It reminds me of Frito pie. Except for this one just has cheese on it. But anyway, it still
thinking about
good.
that though on a long trip.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Time.
Dude. All right. Nelson at Attack the Pod. Shout out Nelson for having us on his first show.
What up, Nelson?
He says beef jerky. I could stand behind this because we've had beef jerky, turkey jerky, all the jerkies.
Yeah. And when we did that Ragnar run, there were like four guys I think in our truck that all brought jerky. I was one of them. So yeah, jerky big time. And you know what? Let me just tell you, knowing Nelson, all the way back from high school, freshman year of high school, he seems like a beef jerky type of guy.
Yeah.
So shout out to Nelson for that beef jerky. Okay, next one. The Hara Hara Club Radio. They're at the Hara Club on Twitter. big shout out to those ladies up in Portland, a couple states over. They said Steak and Shake. Have you ever had Steak and Shake?
I've had it a few times. Yeah, in here when I first moved to DFW area.
Oh yeah, really? Okay, yeah. I said I told them, Steak and Shake. To me, every time I went there, I ended up going to the restroom.
Oh man, really?
20 minutes afterward, yeah. So
Dang.
I did love it though. Like it was good. It tastes good. It's just has that restroom attachment. So speaking of restroom, what's next?
Awesome. Well, awesome segue. Poop Culture Podcast at Poop Culture. Pecan rolls clumps all your stomach contents together so you don't got to take a shit while driving. That's awesome. I love pecan rolls too, man. It's so good. Freaking Little Debbie, man. I love Little Debbie.
Little Debbie's so good. My mom used to love getting them pecan twirls when we were kids. And I would peel them sort of like a fruit by the foot.
Yeah. Exactly.
And eat them like, from tip to tip.
My dad still gets those things.
Does he really?
He still gets them. Not supposed to have them, but he still gets them.
Yeah. it's so silly because I see those and I see oatmeal pies, which we had a lot of times on trips. And I love them. And I want to buy like a 20-pack box so bad.
Dude. Okay. So favorite Little Debbie snack?
Me?
Yeah.
All day oatmeal pie. All day.
Oh man. I got to go with the Little Devil Squares or the zebra cakes.
Yes.
But I'll take any Little Debbie snack any time of day.
I have a question. So, if they made a Harambe Little Debbie snack, what would it look like? What would it be called?
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be chocolate for one.
Like Gorilla Claws?
That's Gorilla Paws, Gorilla Fist,
Gorilla Fist.
Gorilla Fist. There you go.
And they have like a picture of Harambe the gorilla on the outside of the package. Yep. I don't know why I thought that. Okay. All right. Shout out to Poop Culture. Let's see here. Next, the Random Ramblings with Rob at RRR_podcast. Let's see here. Frappuccinos and chips. And I got to say, man, anytime I take a vacation and there's a Starbucks, which is pretty much everywhere, I always get a green tea Frappuccino.
Really?
What kind of Frappuccinos you like?
I honestly don't even care for Starbucks. I usually get the vanilla bean. That's what my wife actually conditioned me to liking back in college.
That's what happened.
So she's a Starbucks junkie. I'm not, but I could definitely get behind the chips. I get Funyuns, Doritos, Cheetos,
chili cheese Fritos all day.
Oh man, yes sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Good. All right, go ahead.
Man, the Mockers Podcast at Mockers Podcast is combos and Sour Patch Kids. Yes, sir. Sour Patch Kids. That's my thing. That's what I ask every year for on my Secret Santa list at work.
Is that right?
And that's exactly what I get. Sour Patch Kids.
That's hilarious. I didn't know you loved them that much.
Oh, dude.
That's so funny.
I love Sour Patch Kids, man.
Yeah, I do like them. But I think my son Jackson would be right along the lines with you because he loves them. Yes, absolutely. We actually let me rephrase that. Peter Cottontail gave him some Sour Patch Kids on Easter.
Oh, really?
Some Sour Patch Easter bunnies. Yeah,
awesome.
That's funny. So big shout out to them. Okay, let's see. Allegedly on the issues at AOTI Podcast on Twitter. Roy Rogers says, "I'm a fixin' bar pickle kind of fiend." And I was like, Roy Rogers? Isn't that a drink? I think Roy Rogers is like, was it like Coke and cherry juice, something like that? It's like the other type of Shirley Temple. But they replied back and said it's an East Coast restaurant. So maybe it's like one of those, things that's just regional, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, big shout out to them. So thanks for allegedly on issues.
Speaking on drinks that you just mentioned, remember the suicide?
Man, that was the best thing on a vacation. How can we forget that?
Yes, how can we forget that? God. I don't know why it just popped into my head. All those drinks mixed together brought heaven inside my mouth.
Yeah. Oh, that liquid bringing heaven in your mouth, man. That's what it's all about.
Yes, indeed.
God, yeah, suicide. Yeah, man, we would do that every vacation.
Yeah.
I don't know what age we started at, but probably around that same time we went to California. But yeah, man, I remember maybe it was you who told me about suicides the first time. You're like, you ever had a suicide? And I was like, no. It's like, I don't want to kill myself. You're like, no. It's a drink. And so you explained to me, you're like, all right, you get your ice and then you just go down the line and get everything from the drink dispenser, every flavor, from the drink dispenser, mixing the juice, the fruity, the the Coke, all that stuff together. And
Dang.
I was like, I don't know. So you drank it. You're like, it's great. so I went ahead and tried it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I mean, like, I remember after having those suicides, we would be bouncing off the walls. It was like,
of course. Oh man, I think I might go to Quick Trip and get one a day.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man,
go ahead and
awesome.
get one.
Yeah, I will do that. All right.
You need to make a little video of yourself getting a suicide. I'll try to snap one too. So that'd be funny. Let's see here.
Whatever man podcast at whatever. That's WHATEVA man pod says Cracklin's on the way to NO. So for those people that don't know who Cracklin is, it's not those things in the store that just look like pork rinds. Yeah. I know a lot of people think that's Cracklin, but Cracklin is made from a pig. And down in southern Louisiana, we call them hog crackling. Yes. So what it is just the fat and meat chopped off. And I actually have a video of my dad butchering the hog. Sorry, Peter. Butchering the hog and creating crackling and boudin and all that other good stuff from scratch. So it's all good. It's all seasoned so well. Was that when you went down there this time? You did that? No. Oh. This was years ago. I had probably like in 99, 2000 sometime. Okay. Yeah. Oh man, it was so good. So good. Cracklin's so good. And I, had a little back and forth with that Whatever Man podcast. And I guess, they love to go to New Orleans a lot. One of them is from Houston. So shout out to Houston, but he lives in Austin, and his cousin Jeremy, I believe it is, or Germ, is in North Carolina. So shout out to those guys, those brothers out there. Cracklins, man, that just makes me want some cracklins. You know what I remember now? I don't know. Did your parents sell cracklins at their store, their little shop that they had, or their little food truck? No, they did not. I don't think they did. Stuff like that. I mean, my mom used to my dad used to make his own. I really couldn't tell you. That was so long ago. They may have done that. Yeah, I remember just going there and getting some good food all the time, so I couldn't remember what it was. But I just remember seeing a bag, like a brown paper bag of cracklins, and like the way you knew that they were good and fresh was that paper stain. Bag. Yeah, it had like that big grease stain at the bottom. Yes. And you reach in there, man, finger licking good. Yes. It's like pork rinds with a little bit of like hard fried pork belly stuck to it. Yes. Man, Lord, that's so good. All right, so make me want to go get some crackling now. Yeah, I can't get none up here because I'm way too far northwest for that. Let's see here. Okay, Brendan Gay at Brendan Gay 92 on Twitter, who is actually a student at Second City in Chicago. So big shout out to them. He said anything under $3. So that is definitely a key on the road. Getting food, anything under $3 makes a quick, easy, stop. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Brendan. Awesome. So Jake and Tom Conquer at The Drunken Dark says, I was about to say poontang. Poontang, yeah. You love that on the road. Yeah, well, everybody does. Hopefully I don't butcher this name. It's poutine. Poutine. So is that a Canadian dish, right? Yeah, it's a Canadian dish, and it was made famous to me. I guess it was not made famous. It's been famous, but it's like a Canadian delicacy. So you know how, or a Canadian, like one of their national dishes. So you know how, we have like as American as apple pie and hot dogs and hamburgers. Right. Well, they have poutine, which is basically steak fries. Okay. Topped with brown gravy. Interesting. Right? Which is also topped with cheese curds. So the cheese before it's all squished together and turned into a block or flattened out and turned into slices. Cheese curds. So, man, let me just tell you, watching, it was made popular, or I guess, made known to me by Epic Mealtime on YouTube. So cool. Go to YouTube, look up Epic Mealtime Poutine, Poutine. Poutine. It's nuts. They make crazy freaking poutine. It probably has like 300,000 calories in it, but but essentially fries, brown gravy, cheese curds, bet. Awesome. Bet. I'd have to see if they sell some in Fort Worth. I'm sure they do. Yeah. Well, yeah, you can. There are places there. I know that make them. I cannot remember the names because I've been too far. It's too far long since I've been to those places. But I know that you can find them. If nothing else, you can make them. Shoot. Right. Fries, brown gravy, cheese curds.
That's easy. Okay, let's see here. So the next is the Press X to Jump podcast, and they're at PXTJ Podcast, and they're in New Zealand. So shout out to New Zealand for showing us some love halfway across the world. They just said they did leave a message and say that you could pretty much drive anywhere within about 8 hours in New Zealand. And in my mind, I was like, New Zealand is small. Where are you driving it?
Yeah, really, right?
They sent me back a message showing Fred Flintstone driving in his car.
Yeah.
So he's like, that's how everybody drives. So I was like, all right, I guess it's like that. But they said pies. Right. So maybe those are like little hand pies, little fried pies.
Possibly. Fried pies, meat pies,
fried pies,
fruit pies.
Yeah, so that's cool. Big shout out to Press X to Jump. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Comic Confidential at Comic Con Pod in Australia says sausage rolls. Yep, I can get behind sausage rolls. What do they call here dang it?
We call them kolaches.
Kolaches, there you go. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word, but yeah, I have those pretty much all the time. I wonder if it's the same formula going into making those.
I think they said something like it's just sausage wrapped in pastry. So, I mean, it's pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same. Cool.
Americanized it. We make it sort of more like a bun or like a roll that it's inside of, like a bread roll, dinner roll. Did you guys go to the Check Stop on the way to San Antonio or on the way back?
Check Stop. No.
No, it was in like West Texas. It's called the town called West Texas. I think it's right in there. Yeah, it's a place called Check Stop, and that's like Czech Republic Check Stop. Right. And yeah, I guess kolaches over there, are like a delicacy or whatever. So yeah, this place called the Check Stop. Next time you go to San Antonio, stop off there. The kolaches there are amazing.
Yeah, cool.
Like they have a variety. So yeah, shout out to Check Stop. So that's cool. So yeah, sausage rolls. Shout out to Comic Con Pod. Let me just say, man, that's like one of the best names for a podcast. The best @ handles on Twitter as well. Because you would think that one of the Comic Cons would have stolen that. Yeah. But they got it, man. So big shout out to them.
And they get all the searches. They'll pop up right away on the search bar.
Yeah, so big shout out to them. Let's see here. The last one, I guess I wrote Brendan's twice, so big shout out to Brendan again. Yeah. But last one is from the ladies from the Mixed Feelings podcast, Cassie and Mandy. Shout out to them. Let's see, and they're at Mixed Feelings PC on Twitter and on Instagram. They also said combos, beef jerky, and sandwiches.
Along with other greenery.
Yes. Along with other greens.
Yes.
Aromatics, if you will.
Awesome.
So yeah, shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for the responses. Definitely appreciate that. If somebody knows Ryan Reynolds out there, just go ahead and have him reply back to us. I'd appreciate that, but it's probably not happening. So anyway, man. So what else? Is there anything else? Anything else you thought of about vacations? Want to drop in?
Buc-ee's
in Texas.
Buc-ee's. They just opened up 2 Buc-ee's, man, like here in the area.
Yeah.
And that place is freaking bananas. We went to one in East Texas on the way back home to Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And that place, man, it's like every freaking food is under the Buc-ee name. Yeah. What do they call these things? Buc-ee balls, Buc-ee nuggets?
Beaver nuggets.
There you go.
Shout out to my boy Hunter and my boy Q that I work with because when my sister came back, brought the kids back from Houston, she flew back with them. She brought me 2 bags of Buc-ee beaver nuggets and also a couple of pecan pralines, which I love those.
Yes.
But beaver nuggets. Okay. We had a thing at work because I brought the bags to work. I brought 1 bag one day, and let me just tell you, it like turned to crack time. Like everybody was up in them beaver nuggets. Mm-hmm. Like handfuls and handfuls of beaver nuggets were eaten in that first day, and they disappeared by then that first day. And it's one of those things like they're both looking at me like they hadn't even had lunch yet, and they were looking at me like they had the meat sleeps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're like, man, these beaver nuggets are so good. So it was funny because I'd just walk around with the nuggets, and I'd be like, hey, you people want some beaver nuggets? Got these beaver nuggets from Buc-ee's in Texas. And so like I'd have to explain to them what it was. And I use that country accent, so to call back, and it just makes it sound better to get some beaver nuggets from somebody from Texas. But okay, so yeah, like you say, Buc-ee's if you can imagine a combination between Super Target, Walmart Supercenter, McDonald's,
don't forget Lowe's,
Sonic, Lowe's, and a gas station, like Quick Trip or a place like that, then that's pretty much what Buc-ee's is. Like there, I know going from Houston to Dallas to Houston, there's a Buc-ee's there, on the way, and there's a line off the freeway on the exit ramp just to turn into Buc-ee's. Yeah. Like if you go during Christmas time, shoot dog, it's going to take you a long time to get some gas. They have like 60 gas pumps, and they're all full. They all have people waiting in line to get to the gas pumps. That's right. Let alone, the 100 spaces for people actually to walk into the store to get beaver nuggets, to get fresh beef jerky, and other things, to get souvenirs, whatever. And the restrooms,
immaculate.
Man, the best restrooms at any rest stop, truck stop in the history of truck stop restrooms.
Yeah, definitely.
If anybody out there ever drives through Texas, make sure you find a Buc-ee's. Yeah. If you see one of those signs that says Buc-ee's 237 miles, wait to stop 237 miles at Buc-ee's. You will be pleased.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely.
Snap us a video. Yeah. Let's HT-Bop.
HT-Bop. Yeah. Also got to shout out Texas Best Smokehouse, because they are a truck stop as well, and they're like all up and down I-20 through Texas. Okay. And we talked about beef jerky earlier. Yeah. These people specialize in beef jerky, so there's all kinds of flavors and everything, man. It's awesome, man. If you come back down, you have to make a stop there or try to find one close to you.
I've heard of them. I just never had a chance. I just never went to one. When we were out there, even traveling out 20 to on our way to Louisiana to Florida. I never had a chance to go to one. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make that stop next time.
Yeah,
show. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Okay, yeah. So one of the best truck stop foods I ever had was at this little Texaco in Fort Worth. It's in South Fort Worth, right near where my wife used to teach. It's a Texaco there. I went in there for breakfast one day when I was substitute teaching, actually, and yeah, man, I got. It was basically like a sausage, egg, and cheese and a bacon, egg, and cheese on a hamburger bun wrapped in plastic. And it's great when the cheese is all melted in there, regardless of how long it's been sitting under that heat lamp. Yeah. Man, I just remember that as being one of the best random truck stop foods I ever had.
Nice.
I don't know.
Very nice.
I'm trying to think. Oh, you know what? Okay, so one more road trip story I'm trying to tell it real quick. My boy, Joel Anderson, who works at BuzzFeed right now. Shout out to Joel. Shout out to BuzzFeed. I'd love to have him on the show one time. He and I went to TCU together. He was a year older than me. We're both from Houston. And we're both, in the same department, journalism department. He used to play football for TCU. So go Frogs, go football players. I remember my freshman year, I did not have a car. I didn't have a car. I just had a bike, which I went to the bank in my bike. I went to the store on my bike. I went everywhere in my bike. So I know he's going down to Houston for, I can't remember if it was spring break, I believe, or maybe it was just another, it was another holiday. Maybe it was, just before Thanksgiving. I can't quite remember, but we're on our way to Houston on 45. We're south of Dallas. He's the one who showed me that 287 from Fort Worth to I-45 shortcut, which used to be great, and now it has a lot of stops, so it sort of sucks. But I remember just in the middle of nowhere, we're both sitting there. I believe he had a Toyota Tercel. I'm sitting there, we're listening to music, just rolling along, and I nod off to sleep. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I don't know how long it was after I was asleep, but all of a sudden, I feel us bumping. I feel like I'm about to fly out of my seat. I pop awake. I look up and we are in the median. There's a point where, there's two tall hills because there's no mountain there, but two tall hills that sort of, frame the outside of I-45 going south. And we're in the center median crossing over at a pretty sharp angle, crossing over from, the southbound toward the northbound oncoming traffic. And we're bumping. I was like, what? I looked over at Joel, and Joel is like, I hit him. I was like, Joel, wake up, Joel. And he pops up awake, and he's like, oh, and he turns, he skids back through the median, back onto the road, and we just keep going like nothing. And I was like, Joe, you almost killed me. And he was just like, I'm so sorry. And, still to this day, I mean, that's been years, and still to this day, even I connected with him on Twitter recently. Even though I still have his number, I connected with him on Twitter recently when I found him. And I was like, man, he didn't know he didn't know who I was, because I was, hitting him up from the # Blackout Pod on Twitter. There you go. For that plug. I was hitting him up there, and I was like, hey man, it's great to see you on Twitter. Great to find you. And yeah, man, you'll remember me because of our trip of almost crossing the median and dying on the way to Houston. And immediately he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. He's like, what's up, Jared? I'm so sorry. I was like, oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah. So let me see here. What is Joel's Twitter? You can go follow him at @byjoelanderson on Twitter. Dude is funny. He talks about everything under the sun. He lives out in California now. He's a reporter at BuzzFeed, like I said. And he just got married within the past year, I believe.
Awesome.
So congratulations to he and his wife. Big shout out to my homeboy. And I'm gonna have to let him know to listen to this one. So I just wanted to drop that in there, because that was like one of the freakiest times, and probably the only time I really, really, truly thought I was about to die.
Dang, that must have been scary.
Yeah,
I can only imagine.
Yeah, all right. So if anybody out there in the world, anybody out there can relate to what we just talked about vacations. If you can relate to that, if you love some of those foods we talked about, if we shouted you out, if there's some do's and don'ts for parents, any of that stuff, if any of this reminded you of anything, tap your love box. Give us a shout out. Give us a little comment on SoundCloud, or rate us on our iTunes page or Stitcher or whatever. Give us a comment. We love to hear back from you guys. We love the feedback. So shout out to everybody who did comment and respond. Yes. And we've definitely been getting more. So we might have to give them a shout out in the next episode as well. So right now, we normally get close and end the show with some Would You Rathers. So Jay, do you have a couple of good Would You Rathers?
Yes, I do. All right. Would you rather be able to talk with all animals or be able to speak all foreign languages?
Dang. That's a good one, man, because I do want to know what the animals are thinking. See if I'm about to get eaten or attacked. True. But then again, to be able to travel to different lands and hear what people are saying about you is also good. And then also be able to talk to them. But I don't know. I would say who was that cartoon character that could speak to animals back in the day?
Dr. Dolittle? Well, of course, that was... Hey.
Was it? I'm thinking Thundar. I don't know. I'm thinking him.
Okay.
No, I don't know who it is. I would say I would much rather speak all languages.
Yeah, I'd agree. Me too.
I mean, make it easier to travel.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it would.
All right. Let's see here. Let me see here. I thought I had a couple Would You Rathers. Let's see here. Would you rather be able to predict the future or change the past?
Well, changing the past may alter the future. And I learned that from Back to the Future. So I think I would like to be able to predict the future, because then if something bad may happen, I could give everybody a heads up. Yeah, so let's do that.
Yeah, that would be good. And I don't want to disrupt
when you really think about it, if you change the past, if you change the present to alter the future, if you could see the future, then in that alternate reality, you may alter the past that affects the future.
I don't even know what you just said.
I don't know either, but it sounded smart.
I agree with it. I don't want to disrupt the space-time continuum.
There you go, space-time continuum. We don't have a flux capacitor that works properly yet. You know, and I'm not even sure we could produce the 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah. So crazy. Oh, man. Okay, so here we go. Would you rather, if you were to take some kind of like psychedelic, psycho-enhancing drugs, and you were to wake up while on these psychedelic drugs and be living in a world forever, right? Which would you rather? The world of Mad Max, the one that just happened, or the world of The Wizard of Oz?
Oh man, Wizard of Oz all day.
I mean, even with those flying monkeys.
Man, there's still the Emerald City I could go to. Flying monkeys don't be there all the time.
I mean, you would be like in Technicolor for the rest of your life, though.
Well, I mean, that'll be fine. I could.
Glorious Technicolor.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say the same because, hey, at least the wizard seems like a nice dude compared to that dude with like the skull face who didn't let anybody have water.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right.
And I wouldn't be stuck out in the desert. Just imagine living in Mad Max world.
Yeah, and like, all the women belong to him.
Yeah, exactly. And you'd have to be lotioned up all the time. Like you'd have to live in a vat of lotion because it's so dry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Would you rather eat everything through your butt or crap everything out of your mouth? A la South Park. And that episode was titled Red Hot Catholic Love.
How to eat through your butt. Yeah, I would definitely have to eat backwards. You know what I'm saying? Eat through your butt because pooping, like crapping out your mouth. I already have some people with dookie breath.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, that would like take dookie breath to a whole new level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Shout out to everybody with dookie breath out there.
Dang.
Eat through your butt.
Eat through your butt. Yeah. I would have to go eat through my butt. Man. But it's just, I don't want, I'm thinking about it as like corn dogs and hot dogs. I might have to chop that one up because I'm not sticking a whole corn dog up there.
Well, you know, I'm assuming that your butt has teeth, so it'd be able to chop it up for you. So that's why I said that.
Oh, man.
If anybody out there knows any people with teeth on their butt, get them some help. Yeah. Or maybe you're the one who put them there. Oh, anyway. So let's see here. Would you rather be homeless with all of your bridges burned or go to U.S. prison for 5 years on a drug charge?
Wow.
With the possibility of parole. So same time frame.
Oh, man.
5 years.
Let's go to prison, man. If all my bridges are burned and I'm homeless, it might be well over 5 years or more to even get back on my feet or mend those bridges, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, I sort of thought about this because, like, last week, my son and I were out playing Pokemon Go after we talked about it.
Yeah.
and we had just finished eating, eating some food at this pizza place. And, we're just walking down the street. And, like, as we're about to get in the car, I glanced over and saw a guy, a homeless guy who, like, looked in the trash to get some food. Right. And it's so crazy because I've seen videos of homeless people, getting food and like we've talked about before, getting food out of a dumpster and like being still good and, them eating it. So I can't remember if he ate it or not, but I just saw that and I was like, dang, that's rough, man. But I don't know, dude. I probably, I don't know which one. I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to go to prison. Screw that. They got enough of us in prison already. True. So I would have to be homeless. I'll try to find a way to mend my bridges over the course of time. But I just know that, that's a sucker life. And shout out to both of my kids because anytime they see a homeless person, they, especially like if we're coming from a store or at a stoplight, they'll be like, Dad, do you have something to give them? Like a granola bar or some water or something. And, most of the time I do have something extra in the car, so I'll hand it out to them. So shout out to my kids for having that kind of heart.
Yeah,
so
compassionate.
Much love to them. Exactly.
Cool.
So, all right.
Very cool. All right. I guess my last one and the ultimate question of all. Would you rather have Donald Trump or Kanye West as the leader of your respective country?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. The thing is, both of them, while I know that they're both but they're both kooky in their own right. I mean, golly, I might say Kanye because I know he's gonna be able to make money. Because I mean, you see them Yeezys out there,
yeah,
and you see his ugly clothes. Like he turns stuff that's ugly and deplorable into money.
Right? Yeah, it's true.
Donald Trump, he's going to do what he's going to do. He's going to make buildings and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, when it's Yeezy season, you know what I'm saying? Like there's money like flying everywhere. So I think he could turn it into Yeezy season.
But then
for 4 years.
But then Kim K is going to be your first lady.
Man, don't you want Kim K as your first lady? I mean, Michelle Obama just rewrote the history books for first ladies.
I know, but do you honestly think Kim K is going to do something great for the kids?
It would be funny because there would be like a keeping up with the president and first lady style Kardashian show.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would just be bad. So I don't know. Is there a third answer?
No. I will say Kanye West will probably drop a dope new national anthem.
Oh yeah, he would. I would say Yeezy all day.
Yeah,
baby.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. I think I'm good. On Would You Rather.
I think so too.
So yeah, those were fun. So yeah, good Would You Rather. So anybody out there that has some Would You Rathers for us, we would definitely love for you to shoot us a message in any of our social spaces. To give us some Would You Rathers. We'll definitely give you a shout out. We'll even add you to the hashtag Blackout Crew just for doing that because we give you some love there. And if you want to see where the hashtag Blackout Crew is, if you want to check out our Instagram page, which talks about our most recent episode as well as some other great funny pictures that we post throughout the weeks. Jay, go ahead and give everybody where they can find us.
Yeah, well, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at hashtag Blackout Pod, Snapchat at hashtag BOP, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Do a search for us and we'll pop right up. Email us topics to discuss at hashtag Blackout Pod, and as Jared said, we'll give you a shout out. Add you to the hashtag Blackout Podcast crew. Check us out at hashtag blackoutpod.wix.com. You can check out all the episodes on our blog at hashtag blackoutpodcast.blogspot.com. And I think we outie.
Yeah, I think we are. And you know what? Stay tuned because there's this app called Musical.ly, musical.ly, which we talked about in another episode. Yeah. We did those internet challenges, and there's an internet challenge right now. It's the Timmy Turner challenge. So guess who's gonna make one? Y'all gonna see me put one up on Instagram. It'll probably be before this episode even drops. So I'll probably have to drop a couple Timmy Turner challenges.
Dang.
Everybody, please look out for the next week's episode 15, where we give our Ghostbusters review, and we talk about a little bit about women in movies and TV and comedy. One of my very best friends from college, Chicago L-Dubs herself, Lindsay, who is a little graduate of Second City and Improv Olympic in Chicago. Very funny lady. She's going to be on the show, so we can't wait to have her and talk about these things. We're actually going to have a new segment. Right now we're going to call it 10 Shots to the Dome. So we're going to have some rapid fire questions for her to answer, sort of like some either or would you rather type questions. So yeah, stay tuned for the next episode 15. Enjoy this episode 14, and we blacking out.
Blacking out. Deuces.